Welcome to Season 4 of Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the biggest stories in CSGO. My name is Budget Richard Lewis. This is Aizyesque. If you can remember to rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you podcast, it would really help us. Let's get into the news.
Let's get right into the news. Are you going to shave your head now that you're Budget Richard Lewis?
No. For context for everyone, I was on Dust 2's stream the other day for the NARMR. Richard Lewis was in the chat the second I got on camera. Literally the second. Whoa, that guy looks like me. Put him back on, because I like went off for a sec. Just like 7 messages in a row about how I was younger Richard Lewis. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on the matter.
I don't think you look that much like Richard Lewis. You've got a beard and glasses.
I think was the beard, the glasses are the same, and I'm pretty sure I have the same headphones as him now. Right. And so now we're treading into like conspiracy theory territory.
Yeah, all white guys do look the same.
I mean, yeah, it's knowledgeable information. Okay, I want to start this with a lighter topic, and then we'll get into actual roster move stuff because we've been away for a while. But this is the timely bit. Next week, as this comes out in 3-4 days, something like that, it will be Counter-Strike's 10th anniversary.
Woo!
It's been 10 years.
Love Counter-Strike.
The biggest things I want to I didn't pull up the link ahead of time. I'm really smart at this.
Counter-Strike is probably my second favorite game of all time.
What's your favorite? Let's hear it.
Multiverses. I'm a multiverses player now.
You play multiverses?
I've been playing a lot of multiverses.
All right, now the point. The thing I wanted to talk about, though, was the bit that Counter-Strike said at the end of their blog post. 10 years, it's a big number, yet CSGO is stronger than ever. Over the past 12 months alone, we've seen more players than ever before. We're currently averaging over 20 million monthly unique players, record viewership for majors, which is 2.7 concurrent viewers, and massive community support with over $70 million raised for professional orgs, teams, and players. So that's in this last year, right? They're talking about in the past 12 months. Yeah. In the past 12 months, we've had 2 majors and are at 70 mil. Like, that's, if you ever wanted to know about sticker money, I'm sure it's not even between like contender, challenger, and legends or whatever it is. I'm sure they're not even, but like you could definitely get an average of like what the math is. And if there's what 24 teams in an event divided by times 2 divided by 70, like you're looking at roughly like 1.5 mil per team, perhaps, if I can do my math correctly.
They always said don't do math while recording. Well, on air is what they normally say, but I wouldn't say we are on air currently. That seems
we're not.
That seems very grandiose, whatever the fuck we're doing.
So basically, my TLDR is Counter-Strike dead game.
Yeah, extremely dead. If you get to a major, you only make like minimum like $1 million. It's just not even worth it. Like, is it even worth doing? What are you going to do with $1 million? Spend it on a player that you're not going to play?
We've talked about how huge it was for Bad News Eagles to make the major because they were like the first unorged team. But like knowing numbers kind of like that, even if they didn't make $1.5 million, right? If that's my benchmark, right? Even if let's say they made like 500K, that's still
even if it's a third of the average, there's still 100 grand. Well, 80 grand per player, because I'll give some to the coach, right?
Yes, but still, it's 80 grand per player. That sustains you for at least another year or 2, depending on where you're living, to like continue on playing the game and not having to worry about it. Like that, that in itself is huge.
Yeah.
That's my big 10th anniversary shtick.
Well, I've been doing some videos over at ESLCS. We should have another one that comes out hopefully by the time this comes out. But we've had 2 up that I've been narrating and writing on things that have happened during the history of Counter-Strike. I'm pretty happy with them. The response we've had has been pretty good. One of them had a Harry Maguire joke right at the start, which people really enjoyed. I thought it was gloriously topical, and Man United losing only helped that. So, it's gone pretty well.
I don't follow football, and I still know Man United lost. That should tell you everything you need to know.
I love it when Man United lose. It's
Also,
like when Astralis lose. It's kind of like that. It's just like nobody like, or when SK Gaming were really good and they lost. Like everyone kind of enjoyed it.
also, new sticker capsule is a banger.
Yeah, I saw the green. I saw that one.
The green one is good. There's a lot of good stickers in there. There's definitely some bangers. Budget Fire Serpent is a favorite of mine. Just good. Okay, let's talk about roster news. We have those. Supposedly,
We are those.
we are those.
We
So
are
rosters.
Yeah, well, I mean, Vitality yesterday confirmed Spinks, which
Yeah, we'll start with that one.
that sounds fun. Will it work? Not a fucking clue. Is it fun? Yes.
Sure.
Spinks is a really good player. He won't be the main player in this team, but I did see Zonic say we now have perfect roles, which confused me a little bit, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. Zonic knows more about Counter-Strike than I do, so if he says it's good, maybe it's good.
Genius. I'll give some trust to Zonic.
Yeah,
I mean, he did win 4 majors.
Yeah, he's earned it.
I think he's earned my trust on once. If this Vitality team completely fails, I mean, then his trust is gone.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Then,
if this Vitality team doesn't work and the roles don't look good, I do know more about Counter-Strike than Zonic. So, that's what I'm going to say. For now, 4 majors does trump 0. If it doesn't work, we're at least on even footing.
Okay, so the other big moves that happened were G2. There's a lot of moves. I've got like a speed section for us to go through later.
Yeah, I cannot remember which ones we covered and which ones we didn't.
Yeah, so the other big set of moves is minus G2 is minus Jax minus Alexi B plus Hooksy plus JKS. Now to announce this, they had a banger video of like talent tryouts. It's a banger video. It's great. Thoroughly enjoyable to watch. They put all the memes in there of like JKS being Manessi's new dad and stuff. Like it was a good vibe.
I'll be honest, I saw the thing about the talent show and thought they were actually advertising a talent show. Didn't watch the video.
Oh no, it's a banger. It's plenty of memes.
I just didn't watch it.
So they're interviewing Hooksy, right? And Nico goes, "What makes you think you can IGL better than me?" And Hooksy says, "Shut the fuck up, Nico." And Hunter goes, "You're hired."
Brilliant.
It was a bang.
That's good, actually. Yeah, fair enough.
It's a bang.
That's I like. You can say what you want about G2, say what you want about Carlos. Their content side is always good. Like they're so tuned in to their own fan base and other fan base's opinion of them, and it just allows them to be perfectly in the. They're never like. You know when MSL had his comeback stronger thing and he sort of didn't seem to realise that people were taking the piss out of him? G2 are never there. Like, they're always aware of everything that's said about them. And it's not easy.
I watched we're diving into League of Legends for like half a second. I watched an interview from Double Lift who interviewed Steve, who's the CEO of Team Liquid, Joe Marsh, who's the CEO of T1, and Carlos, who's the CEO of G2. And they talked about plenty of just like esports things. It was a League of Legends podcast, but they talked about plenty of esports stuff. And in that, every person was like, Carlos, your content is fucking insane. And it's like, you see that Carlos is just like, that is Carlos.
Yeah.
And it's just like that is what he's going to do in content because that's just him. Yeah. I thought that was cool. I want to talk about this for a minute. So, I've been thinking about this, right? There was definitely some questions about these moves because of minus Jax specifically, because like that's a hard support player and you're replacing him. I've been thinking about this. So we used to have Jax just like being the support player, but also being the entry frag because he was willing to go die. They've actually moved those roles into 2 different players here. If Hooksy is going to play support and JKS is just going to play hard entry, which I know is not what he's known for, right? He's known for the lurk, the same kind of role that Hunter plays, but we've seen that he can play a hard entry. We saw it in phase in the Katowice winning run, right? When he took, I guess it was Twist spot or Rob's spot.
It was Rain.
Rain. Was it Rain spot? Okay.
He took Rain. Well, he
took
originally
17 different people's spots.
He took Rops in group stages and he took Rain in playoffs.
Okay. So when he took Rain spot, we could see that he could absolutely be an entry fragger.
Yeah.
And so I think if JKS leans into that and Hooksy is the support player, you may actually have correct roles on this team for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that helps, but
so I one of the criticisms I've always had of Alexi B was that he always had an extra support player. He was never the support player, rightly or wrongly. As an in-game leader, I think it's, especially on a top team, if you're an in-game leader and you're not fucking Blame F or something, you should never be anything but the fifth man on a team. Carrigan is always the fifth man on his teams. Snappy can do anything. Snappy's really good. But these type of players are often just the fifth man. And I think Hooksy will have no delusions of grandeur. I will play the worst spot imaginable. Yeah. He genuinely might entry frag as well on the T side, because he's not somebody who needs to be alive to do what he back, because his impact is not with his hands, it's with his head. And I think he might end up just being like the old MSL suicide entry.
Yeah,
you just literally pair him up with Nico. Hooksy jumps around a corner, dies. Nico trades it. I think that's going to be their quote unquote entry fragging.
My only problem with that is then you're still out of support player.
On the T side though, it's less important.
Yeah,
I think. Well, maybe not, but you can have Hunter throw some flashes. Yeah. Hooksy run in, die, Nico trades it. Well, you have Munacy throw the flashes, actually, because you don't want him flying in first anyway. You just have Munacy lagging behind, throwing the flashes. It's kind of like OC does on Liquid. And then Hooksy just dies for Nico or Hunter trade him.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna reserve judgment of this move. Because I think this may actually be, God help me please, a good move. But I'm going to wait to see about roles.
Well, the thing is, even if the roles don't work, it's G2, and that whole thing is just chaos. G2 are all about chaos. The more chaos, the better.
It'll be like the fourth best team in the world. They won't win a map in a finals, and that's it.
They're pretty much cursed anyways. You might as well just take the piss, do whatever you want.
We have a special podcast announcement bit that's obviously been announced, but who cares? Malbs is back to Team 1.
Oh, yeah. I did see this. It's kind of sad. I think he's better than Team 1. But
so do I, but he's better than the bench as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Malbs to Team 1 means we see Malbs play.
I think eventually I do think he can step up, but his time on 0-0 Nation was turbulent, to say the least. I don't think that was entirely his own fault, but it also... it wasn't the best performance we've seen from him either, but it wasn't great circumstances. I think he is better than Team 1, but...
Okay, we have speed round here, and then we will get into Blast Group's previews. So speed round, new Copenhagen Flames roster. After the old one left, the new one is now Bird from Sky, Rawls, Borup, TMB, and Regali. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Confirmed, absolutely happening. Will be interesting to see.
We'll see how much of the Copenhagen Flames goodness was Dvorborg and how much was themselves.
Yeah. KNG back again. Oplano back again. A bunch of Brazilian players you've probably heard. A couple of Brazilian players you've probably heard of in the tier 2 scene of this Brazilian player exists. He was on a top team once for 5 minutes, and that's it.
God, yeah.
Nekiz and Yell being the number 1 and 2.
I think Piriazin is pretty decent. I think
Piriazin and Kaike are Piriazin is the new kid. Everyone else, so KNG's 29, Nekiz is 26, Yell is 30, Kaike is 27.
Yeah, Nekiz is bad as well. Piriazin, though, I've seen him play. I don't know why I've seen him play, but I have, and I think he's decent. I can't tell you anything else about him, but I remember the name, so I think he's half decent.
Yeah, so that's gonna happen. That'll be interesting. Falcons, which is one of the few French teams left, along with Heat and LDLC, are adding Masuta and NBK.
Yeah,
So replacing
that team was pretty
Kyojin.
close to being good as well.
Yeah, so it's replacing Chaos and Kyojin. So it's Python, Maka, Haji, NBK, Masuda.
That team
Will be
actually seems
interesting.
pretty solid.
They'll probably be the best team in France. Even with Jax getting added to Heat, I think that Falcons is probably still a better team.
It's going to be, yeah. I mean, it's already pretty close between those two, and they've both upgraded. I think, yeah, I think I'd probably take Falcons.
I'd probably take Falcons just because I rate Masuda on not being the fifth man in the roster.
Yeah, I like Masuta as a player, and I think at that
rate-
level he'll smurf a bit. To be honest,
I rate that. Next is a weird one, because we don't normally do this. CLG Red, the women's roster, brand new roster, gone European, and American and Australian. The main reason I want to talk about this is because they brought this new player Keode on, who's French, and from what I heard, apparently she tried out while she was in France on like 100 plus ping.
Wow.
And absolutely murdered everyone, and they picked her up still, like, because she was murdering everyone and she was on 100 plus ping.
Yeah.
She
She's
played
not
there-
as good on, like, she goes on lower ping and she just struggles. So.
I'm pretty sure she's still in France. She played their ESEA match the other day on like 96 ping and was still top fragging.
Nice.
Like, that's
Europe
love to
just
see
stays winning. Although,
to
not
be
that I
fair,
want to be associated with the French.
love to see more women's teams doing things. EG also signed a women's team the other day. They are now officially up to 20 members in the blueprint.
Well, again, it did, like, I think Kalassi is still there, so it might be 21.
21? Oh, God.
It's 40.
And is Stewie still there, too? Are we at 22?
He's gone, but I couldn't. He's officially listed as no team on HOTV because he's now a content creator.
We still got more. Apex, not the player, the team, Norwegian team. Well, now Norwegian mixed team with Jacom, Sticko, Knock, JL have added Shocks.
Yeah,
weird move.
Just to make it more confusing that they're not the French player Apex, they've signed the French player Shocks, who isn't, somebody else. There's two other people called Shocks as well. Because
none of them are Norwegian though.
No, true. That is true.
I'm pretty sure one's Estonian, one's Belgian.
Yeah.
Neither Norwegian though. But and Cuban came in as coach. This team actually seems to me like could be a top 20 fighting a little bit kind of team.
I thought that about the last Apex roster, and it kind of flopped. And I liked Chauzy as a player. I still think he's half decent, and Nork as well, who is suspiciously gone, I think.
No, he's there.
Oh, he's on there. Okay. In that case, I don't know. I liked Chauzy as a player, but I guess he's not impressed. So, but I mean, that's because he's an AWPer who they had rifling as a support player for some reason. Who would have guessed?
I don't know. Also, it removes the Asilian IGL. It's putting IGL into Stico, which quietly in my head, actually, I think Stico probably should have been an IGL for a while. And
yeah, Stico should be pretty decent. Let's not talk about Asilian.
Yeah. After that, okay, this is a bigger story. We're done with speed round because this is a bigger one.
There's one more I think which probably speed round, which would be Sprout.
Oh yes, I totally forgot about Sprout. Sprout's interesting. Sprout's actually really interesting.
Signed Refresh and Xiphon, which is actually a decent level of talent for Sprout.
That roster might actually like compete in things.
Yeah, so just to get the 5 up, because they're constantly changing players, and I've forgotten who they've got. Slacks, Stare, Lounx, Refresh, Xiphon. Refresh is the IGL. That team quietly has a lot of talent. Lounx is so good. Stare is really decent. Xiphon, we know, is a good player. Like, Refresh can play a bit. Like, this has a lot of talent. This might be the best Sprout team we've ever seen.
And it's a Danish team.
Yes.
Which I think is, and I don't mean to harp on Germany, Because Sprout was just constantly the second best team in Germany.
Yep.
Like that, there was Big, Sprout, and then no one like anyone else didn't matter. They've taken their German talent and either sold it off, so Faven to Big, or they've kept it in terms of Slacks, and they have brought in people around them. And I think this is the correct good move. I think this will work. I don't know if they'll be a top 20, like top 15 team fighting every single thing, but I think they'll be fighting for some stuff. I think I put this in like the category above the Apex roster.
Yeah.
Kind of in the Movistar category, which is weird, but we'll explain why the Movistar category in a moment.
Yeah.
That's the next bit I want to get to.
Yeah, I don't know. This team, I normally hate watching Sprout because you always know exactly how good they're going to be, but I actually don't know how good this team's going to be. I think there's like 3 genuinely potentially tier 1 players on this team, maybe 4.
Okay.
Potentially tier 1 players on this team. I don't think Slacks is particularly good, but I also don't think he needs to be on this team. I think Laux is extremely talented. Stare is equally talented as well. Both very young. Zyphon, as I say, we all know how good he is. He was on that Copenhagen Flames roster. I think he was their highest rated player in the major as well.
I think he was.
This guy can play. We know how good Refresh is. Whether or not he can in-game lead is probably the make or break factor here, because this roster has a lot of talent on it. Like, there is a genuine chance this team maybe doesn't become the next Ents, because that's a pretty big ask, but can become a top 15 team. Like, can, as you say, be the next Movistar, be the next, like, Entropic. Like, they can be that team. There is a lot of talent on this team.
Yeah. Speaking of a team with not a lot of talent, Evil Geniuses.
Good segue.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about EG first, then we'll talk about the other thing. EG had about 1 million roster moves during this offseason. I will sum them up quickly. Stewie, minus from a main team to streaming Valorant. Rush, minus from main team to make way for Hext to the main team and Nealon to the main team, which would mean a real IGL, let it be known, and not Stewie doing whatever he did on Liquid and then Evil Geniuses,
which I think is turning down Starbucks invites.
Which I think is actually an underrated kind of plus of this move, is that they're adding an actual IGL that's not named Stewie. There's more. Party Astronauts didn't get touched on, but Carpe Diem did. So Carpe Diem is minus Glacia, obviously minus Hext because he moved up to the main roster, but they've brought Rush down to Carpe Diem. In addition, they've added Stanislaw, but for the current time, Rush will actually be still with the top main roster, because for Blast, Automatic is taking lead for personal reasons, so Rush is still going to play in the main roster, but in Automatic's roles. I think that's it. Oh, also they added Vorberg as a coach, and Malik is now his assistant coach, I think, and they signed another roster.
There's actually no comment I can make that is funnier than you having to read all the roster moves that just happened.
The worst part is I only wrote half of those down, and I remembered more as I was going through.
Yeah,
I forgot about the Malik stuff. I forgot about the Vorberg stuff. I forgot about the 22-man roster.
Well, 22-person roster.
22-person roster. You're right.
Should be inclusive there. We're now currently focused on the post in the background, and you are unfocused.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to assume you are I'm going to make eye contact with the Hulk.
Understandable. But yeah, in this, all that happened. And like, the worst part is, like, we knew about the minus Glacia, plus Hext, plus Nealon for like a little bit now. The rest of that all came within like the last week.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to say, I don't know what's happened to Automatic. He's taking some personal leave, so I'd like to wish him the best in whatever is going on. And other than that, just gonna
we don't need to
look over the pond at the Americas and just sort of laugh inwardly.
We're going to talk about EG more in a minute, because we're going to talk about Blast, and Blast is existent.
Yes.
So
We should get
I have
onto
one
that
more.
soon.
I have one more possible roster move, and then we can be done with roster moves for like a month. Um, when Spinks went to Vitality, he left an opening in Ents. And the rumors are, there's no confirmation on this yet. The rumors are, well, actually, no, there's confirmation of minus Hades. And there is no confirmation, but definite rumors of plus Sun Pius to Ents.
I think that's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen as well, and I think it's a banger move. Not that I don't like Hades. I rate Hades very highly. Just Sun Pius is a very good player.
He's a very good CT player. He's less impactful on the T side, but so was Spinks.
Yeah, I think Sun Pius is a good pickup. To me, it's kind of weird that they're picking up Sun Pius and benching Hades. They still need to pick someone else up. Like they still need to replace.
Yeah, it's weird.
Sphinx
There's not really been any rumors on who's going to replace Spinks.
Yeah,
there was a sort of murmuring about Laux from Sprouts, as we mentioned
before.
before.
I've heard. Weren't there rumors about Valde?
I feel like Valde gets linked to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Valde there actually kind of.
Yeah,
makes
I think
sense.
Valde would be a perfect fit on this team. And I'm not in the people will say Valde is a perfect fit on every team. And I don't think that's entirely fair. But the reason I think Valde would work on this team is because you originally had Spinks as the superstar who is built around. Now I think because of the way Sun Pius has been on Movistar, I think they will build around the AWPer now. I think Sun Pius will be, weirdly enough, in a lot of Spinks' roles. He will be the new Spinks.
The star roles, and Valde will kind of just play support to that.
Yeah, so Valde is a versatile rifler who, you might need him in some of Spinks' roles. You might want him on the T side more in Spinks' roles because you're going to want the AWP to be dynamic. So you want somebody who can both be a supportive rifler but also mechanically good enough to play some of Spinks' roles and to be a star when needed. And also, even if you say, okay, Sun Pius is Spinks, and then that would mean Valde is Hades. Now, a lot of Hades roles were passive roles, but like on angles where you need an instant kill, hence, the AWP. So you need somebody who is mechanically good enough to play those roles, but is also passive enough to be able to hold an angle for 45 seconds when you need him to. And I think Valde is both incredibly mechanically good and calm and composed enough to play these passive positions the way Hades did. And I think that could make Ents a really dangerous team because Valde is so versatile. That's what's so good about him.
Yeah, I vibe with this move.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, if this happens, I vibe with it. If it doesn't happen, I still vibe with it, but I wish they would have done it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works out. Okay, let's talk about Blast. Blast is new. Blast is fun. All the exact same teams that are always at Blaster here. So, quick rundown. FaZe didn't make any roster moves. Na'Vi didn't make any roster moves, but will have a different roster for Blast.
Simple is taking a break.
Simple is taking a break. Head Trick will be in for Simple. I still expect Na'Vi to get very far because the rest of this team exists.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yes, but the team is also built around Simple, and I think it's going to throw a bunch of their stuff out. I wonder, and this is entirely speculation, I wonder if Bit might just AWP for the event.
I love it. Please do it.
Because I don't think Head Trick is an AWPer, is he?
I don't know.
He's played for them before, and I don't think he's an AWPer. I'll have a look quickly. But the thing is, they're going to be without an AWPer otherwise. And Bit
Weapons.
is often Head Trick. Well, he's got a very low headshot percentage, so he probably does AWP.
I mean, he does. Yeah, he does.
He's a hybrid.
He
AWPs a lot.
Actually, he's kind of like Simple in that he's a hybrid player.
In that case, I guess they'll just have him 1-for-1, and they'll just try and set Head Trick up to be the best player he can. So, not really an issue.
If Na'Vi has faith in that, then go for it. I mean, like,
they'll run 5 rifles on the T side, and they might have him as the AWPer on the CT side.
Yeah. Astralis is there. They haven't made any moves. They probably should have, but they haven't made any moves. NIP haven't made any moves. Possibly should have. Vitality, who now have Spinks instead of Masuda. G2, who now have JKS and Hooksy instead of Jax and Alexi B. Liquid, who have confirmed Yakindar's in for another Blast event, for this Blast event. And Yoka Steve tweeted they are working towards hopefully good news soon about the long term of Yakindar, meaning they're trying to sign Yakindar.
There's been no other rumors around him, so I assume he is just going to Team Liquid.
Yeah, I'd assume he's going to Team Liquid. My guess is it's literally just contract negotiations. And my guess is Yukindar legitimately wants to play for Liquid because he's playing into the Blast. It's like,
he kind of has the choice. Well, he obviously doesn't have the choice of wherever he wants to go. But if he didn't want to go to Liquid, I'm sure somebody else would sign him. So the fact that he's still playing for Liquid and they're talking about like he clearly wants to be there.
He clearly wants to be there, and the team clearly wants him there, and he clearly like he cares about the contract because it's still going on. But he clearly wants to play with them, that he is subbing for them in another event, right? If he didn't want to play for them, they would have brought someone else in, right? They would have.
I'd like to say the first podcast we did when he got cut, if you go back and listen, I said I have a sneaking suspicion he's going to go to Team Liquid.
I probably said no shot. That there's no way, because I don't believe anything good ever comes to North America.
I distinctly remember saying it, or I either did that or I tweeted it, and I remember this because I was like, I know they went really hard for Rops. They were looking for a European superstar to just throw money at, and I just kind of had a feeling that Yukindar would be like, all the other offers would be kind of conditional anyway, and he'd be like, well, they want me, they'll pay me a lot of money,
and I think that I think they're actually a good team with Yukindar on it. Like,
yeah, that most teams with Yukindar on it would be good.
That may be the NA fan in me, but like, I think that Liquid had a very good showing at whatever the last event before the player break was, because I don't remember what it was. Cologne? Was it Cologne?
Yes.
Yeah. Liquid had a good showing at Cologne, and even though there was a million upsets and stuff, I think that they legitimately showed out well. And I think more time with Yukindar means this team will look better. The exact tweet from Steve, by the way, is we are working with Yukindar to hopefully have some good long-term news soon, which says they are working on a contract.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious what that means, right?
Good. Big is officially minus Tizian.
Yeah.
Plus
Keto. I couldn't have told you that these two weren't the other way around in the first place.
Yep.
Big. It's always Tabson plus supporting Germans. And whenever I don't even look at the rest of the big team, it's just sort of like they have a rotating cast of vaguely decent German players.
I'm pretty sure I saw Darth Mike say this on Twitter, but I'll say it again. They are getting further and further away from the reality that all players need to enter the number this up.
As soon as I saw you, I knew you were going to bring this up.
It's going to be a reality. I wasn't the first person to bring it up. Darth Mike brought it up on Twitter. I blame him.
I couldn't tell you and Darth Mike apart.
This is going back to all right. Heroic, they exist. They haven't made any moves. Yeah. I don't have much more to say on Heroic.
They obviously made their big roster move a little bit early, so yeah, they are still somewhat a new roster.
Yeah, but I don't put the same expectations. I don't put the same new roster expectations on them, if that makes sense.
You kind of expect them to be a little bit further along in the process.
Yeah, they've played a whole event with Yabi. OG, Neofrag, and Fiku in for Valde and Nico?
Yes.
Also Dagster in for Montu. It's a whole new roster.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that move happened.
Yeah, and Nexa's in. The Nexa move happened like 6 months ago, but like that's also still a new move.
Yeah, he's like a veteran on this team now.
Yeah, this team's weird. I'm excited. This team looks good.
I want to watch this team play. I know people are kind of down on Neofrag and Fiku, but Neofrag's really fucking good. Fico, I think, is pretty talented as well. Like this team's kind of fun. I don't know. I like the look of that team.
This team's not going to be like a top 15 playoffs, like fighting for playoffs every time. They're definitely going to take maps off some good teams and like absolutely try and like they'll absolutely hit hard sometimes.
Yeah.
2 more teams. We talked about the Million Evil Geniuses moves. Please let's not talk about them anymore. Complexity. Yeah. So I've watched some Complexity recently. NARMR going on, obviously.
Polzerk went deathless in his first game, didn't he?
Yeah, we couldn't. So NARMR was a mess. We couldn't get a single GoTV link for any of the complexity games until like the very last one of the first night. Like they didn't exist. They kept getting rerouted and stuff. We had to like Ryan had to contact someone or it was like through 17 different ways that we had to get this link. We were the only people that had the stream of it. But Halzerk, very American. I know he's Norwegian, but he bought a PP Bison and legitimately uses it, and also has a mullet and a stash.
Yeah. I don't know why mullets have cut. I don't know why I'm getting into this here. I don't know why mullets have just made a comeback. They always look stupid.
I don't know, and Looking I don't really care. Because here's the thing, right? Halzerk, he's embracing the Americanism right now.
I think you have to.
Yeah, if you're playing for complexity, if you're playing for America's team,
you don't join the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly.
And not be American.
Unless you're JT or TC. In that case, you're South African. Not the point. They looked fine with Halzerk. I don't want to give like a final ruling on this because they were playing against, let's be clear, shit NA players. The first day of matches that I watched,
but carry on.
The first day of matches that I watched, they did not face a top 200 team, like straight up. Yeah. I don't know that for a fact, but like they crushed every game they were in. Like the last game that we watched, which should have been the closest game, was like 16-3 on Nuke or some shit. Like they crushed everything. So I reserve my judgment of this. Okay, that's everyone in Blast. Style teams. Let's do quick. I think quick group predictions, and then we'll end it here.
Sure.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. So Group A: Vitality, OG, NiP, Astralis. Do you want me to tell you the opening matches?
And NiP will go through, I think.
Vitality and NiP through. Okay.
Unfortunately, I'd like to say, like OG will get through. NIP just. I don't know. They're kind of reliable, which I hate saying because they're not, but they also kind of are.
Yeah, I also think that this group, OG and Vitality have obviously made changes. NIP and Astralis haven't. And one of NIP or Astralis should get through because they are just less volatile. They haven't made moves. They've had time to practice with their rosters. They have set things.
Astralis did lose in the RMR Open Qualies, though. So
Yeah, I don't rate Astralis very highly. I've been rather vocal about that for years. I think Vitality NiP is a good move. I honestly think that Astralis is probably the worst team of this, at least on a consistent basis. Like
I'd love to agree. I don't know if I do, but I will just because I want to.
Like OG is the other possibility, and I think OG's highs could be higher than Astralis' highs right now.
I kind of think so too.
Group B. Liquid, G2, Na'Vi, Complexity.
Na'Vi. Oh wow, this is a really tough one because Na'Vi obviously don't have simple. It's obviously not complexity, right? And then
but by the way, just as a separate matter, every team gets out of this. It's just for seedings and like the knockout.
Okay.
It's so I'm more asking who are we going to see in the group in the final of the group, I guess, because I'm now finding out every team gets out of this, and we have third, fourth place matches, which lead into second versus the winner, which lead into first versus the winner.
No, a G2 Na'Vi in that order.
G2 Na'Vi in that order. I can see that. I can see Liquid making a fight. I cannot see Complexity making a fight.
Oh, wait, no, because G2 Na'Vi would probably be an upper final. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
I mean, they could be an upper final, go down, still beat the other team, and go back up to the group final. That's legit. Group C is FaZe, EG, Heroic, and Big. This is the group that I don't know what the second team is. I think we can both agree on FaZe.
This is also an intensely boring group. I don't want to watch EG or Big play.
I want to watch EG play just because I don't know. I feel like it'll just be interesting, but
I guess watching Hex will be kind of interesting because I want to see how good he is. Like he's a player I don't know much about. I've probably seen him twice. I'd kind of like to watch him. Big, their one roster move was to bring back a player who's already played for them. Not interested. We know exactly what we're getting from Big. That said, it's FaZe and Heroic. Like it just is.
FaZe Heroic. I think you're probably right.
Heroic
FaZe
is better
Big,
than Big. Like
I
it's not
I
fuck
I
about.
agree on the Heroic better than Big, but if we're talking just purely on roster moves, the Big roster move is like not an actual roster move because Keto has been playing sixth man and stuff. So like wow, I just said so like in like 3 words instead of saying actual
So
words.
like
Uh
you're such a
the big
carry.
roster move, they already know. Like Keto already knows the plays. Team already knows Keto, right? Like they've been together for years now.
Yeah, but like Heroic's roster move was months ago at this point. Like, let's not think about. Don't think about it too much. Heroic is just a better team than Big. It doesn't matter.
I think Heroic's a better team than Big. I
matter.
agree with you. I don't know. I think Heroic Big will actually be a very boring but close game. That'll be one of those games.
I think Heroic will just outclass them.
That'll be one of those games. You know the copy pasta that's like, isn't this person a quiet person? They you turn away and suddenly they have 30 kills, but you don't remember any of them. That's what that game's gonna be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, yeah, FaZe Heroic. We'll talk about playoffs for this next week because the rest of the stuff, so the elimination bracket and that stuff will all happen next week after we record. So it'll be on Thursday when it comes out. We'll have more information at that point. Other than that, unless any roster has somehow I wanted to talk on this for a moment. I meant to bring this up with G2, but Exotaz came out with an article like an hour ago on HLTV where he said, I pulled it up on my phone. That's how we know that it's breaking news. I've never seen Nico looking to call the shots, nor have I seen him contradict the vision of his IGL.
Everyone else has, but that's fine.
I thought it was funny. And in addition, for our Australian ANZ fans, all 3 of them,
or is this about
just
Order?
just kind of like an esports thing. Order has been put up for sale after they just got like $3.5 million worth of funding last year.
Didn't they just kind of go dark? Didn't the owner like delete his Twitter and just completely go dark? Like,
well, it's Gomez, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's Gomez. He put out a tweet longer that was like, "Hey, yeah, we're not dead. We're just for sale. Like, please contact."
Right. Okay. The thing yesterday or last night before I went to bed was that like he just kind of disappeared. And
it's weird because Order's actually like good. I say good like very tepidly, but like they're the best team in the rosters that they have in Australia, New Zealand, and like Pacifica are the best teams in their region at their game. Right, in League of Legends, they're high in whatever the thing is down there. They're good in Counter-Strike comparatively to other ANZ teams, right? Like the rest, their rosters are good within the geolocated area that they're in. Not much international success, but it's weird to see like the biggest team in a region, which is not, I wouldn't say it's a small region. It's one of the small regions we have, but it's not like small. It's weird to see them go under.
Yeah, it was especially when they've had funding so recently as well.
Yeah, it was weird. They're out of money. Like that is the documents to the Australian regulators say they are out of money. Which is weird.
It's esports for you, man. It's a bubble.
Yeah. All right. That is all we have today. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Mechatronic.
Oh,
I remembered this time. It's a 3 and a 0. It'll be new in the link below. At Aizyesque and at ReadTLDR. You'll see us again next week with our Blast Premier playoff pre-show group post-show thing. Yeah, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think it will still be going on by then, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't think too much. Heroic are just better than Big. Don't think about it.
Yeah.